My name is Sophia Brennan. I'm 28 years old and I teach third grade for $52,000 a year. At the check-in counter of a five-star resort in Maui, my own mother looked the receptionist dead in the eyes and said, loud enough for the entire lobby to hear, "A pathetic failure like her doesn't deserve a room on this family vacation. She can sleep on the damn beach for all I care." My brother laughed. My father looked away. I had spent the last 6 years quietly paying off $50,850 of their debts on my teacher's salary, loans, credit cards, emergencies, while they never paid me back a single cent. I stood there, suitcase in hand, humiliated in front of strangers. Then the clerk looked straight past my family and said, "Ms. Brennan, your grandfather's attorney is waiting for you in the hibiscus room." What my family was about to discover in the next 24 hours would shatter every lie they'd ever told about who the real failure was. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, if you've ever been the one who gives while everyone else takes, stay with me. This story gets better. And if it resonates with you, leave a comment below. I read every single one. You're not alone in this. Let me take you back to where it started. February 2019. I was 22, a college senior with a biology exam the next morning. My phone rang at 9 p.m., Mom's name on the screen. I almost didn't answer. I was cramming, desperate to keep my scholarship. But something made me pick up. "Your grandfather needs surgery," she said. No greeting, just straight to it. "Heart valve replacement, $35,000. Medicare won't cover the gap. We need to figure this out as a family." 2 days later, I was sitting at my parents' kitchen table. The whole family was there. Mom, Dad, my older brother Trevor. Everyone looking at me. "Your credit's the cleanest, Soph," Trevor said, leaning back in his chair like this was a casual suggestion. "You're the only one the bank will approve." I was 22. I'd had a credit card since I turned 18. My parents had insisted, said I needed to build credit early. I'd been meticulous about it. Every purchase paid off in full every month. Part-time job at the campus library, enough to cover it. By senior year, my score was 720. The bank saw a responsible borrower. They didn't see a family that would weaponize that responsibility. "We'll all chip in," Dad said, sliding the loan papers across the table. $500 a month each. 6 years, it's paid off. We're family. We do this together. Mom put her hand on my shoulder. "You're saving your grandfather's life, honey." I looked at the papers. $35,000 at 12% APR. Monthly payments, $625. I did the math in my head. If we split it 4 ways, I'd pay $500 a month for 6 years. Manageable. Tight, but manageable. I signed. I believe them. That was mistake number one. The surgery was successful. Russell came home in March, weak but recovering. I visited him every Sunday, helped organize his medications, made sure he ate properly. He'd squeeze my hand and say thank you. He'd ask if the family was helping with the loan. "Of course, Grandpa," I'd say. "Don't worry." He'd look at me with these knowing eyes. "You're a terrible liar, sweetheart." I didn't understand what he meant. Not then. April 15th, first payment due. I sent a message to the family group chat. "First payment's due tomorrow. Can everyone Venmo me 500? Trevor. Startup costs hit hard this month. I'll get you next time. Mom. We're a little short, honey. Can you cover it?" Dad didn't respond at all. I stared at my bank account. $1,856. After the payment, I'd have $1,231. Rent was due in 2 weeks. I ate ramen for a month. Next time never came. May, June, July, August. Every month, the same $625 came out of my account. Every month, I waited for their contributions. Every month, silence. I kept paying. alone, every single month. Russell knew, even then, and he was keeping track. I didn't find out until much later that he'd started a journal that spring. In it, he documented every visit I made, every time I called, every time I mentioned the loan payment, and every time he asked my parents about it and they changed the subject. He was building a case against my own family to protect me. The years blurred together after that. College graduation, first teaching job, tiny apartment with 2 roommates. Every month, $625 disappeared from my paycheck before I could even think about saving it. Then came the borrowing. June 2020, middle of COVID. I was teaching 3rd grade via Zoom, 28 little faces in a grid on my screen. My phone buzzed during a lesson. Trevor. Sis, I know this is bad timing, but my servers crashed and I need $800 to migrate data or I lose everything. I'll pay you back with interest when our funding round closes next month, I promise. I Venmo'd him during my lunch break. Funding never came. Neither did my $800. December 2021. My parents called during winter break. Their credit cards were maxed out. Could they borrow mine for Christmas shopping? Just this once. They'd pay the whole bill in January. I handed over my Visa at Christmas dinner. They charged $2,600. Gifts for everyone. A new TV. Kitchen gadgets. January came. They paid $200. February. Nothing. I made minimum payments for 18 months. March 2022. Trevor needed a cosigner for an apartment. He'd been evicted from his last place. Landlord was crazy, he said, and couldn't get approved a loan. Could I help? Just my name on the lease. He'd handle everything else. He was doing Uber now. Income was stable. He promised he wouldn't let me down. I stood in a UPS store signing the papers while a bored employee notarized them. The pen felt heavy in my hand. Every instinct screamed no, but he was my brother. Family helps family. That's what Mom always said. 4 months later, I got the eviction notice. 6 months after that, my credit score was 590, 130 points. Gone. Because Trevor skipped rent and disappeared, leaving my name on a lease he'd promised to handle. I couldn't even rent a better apartment for myself anymore. September 2023. Russell needed hearing aids. Insurance covered $1,200. He needed $3,200 more. Family group chat. Mom. Grandpa needs hearing aids. We need to cover the gap. Dad. Sophia, don't you have that care credit card? Trevor. Yeah, put it on there. We'll Venmo you our shares. I sat in the audiologist's office with Russell, watching the receptionist swipe my card. The approval beep. Russell squeezed my hand. I waited for their Venmos. I'm still waiting. One night in late 2023, I couldn't sleep. I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop and made a spreadsheet. Just to see. Just to know. Loan payments through November 2025. 70 payments at $625. $43,500. Trevor's borrowed money, never repaid. $3,200. Parents' credit card debt. $2,600. Hearing aids. $3,200. Total. $52,500. I stared at that number. $52,500. My annual salary as a 3rd grade teacher was $52,000. I had given them more than a full year of my life, and somehow, I was the one who couldn't manage money. Thanksgiving 2023. I went to my parents' house out of obligation. Mom was talking to my aunt in the kitchen. I was in the dining room, setting the table when I heard it. Sophia's still in that little apartment with roommates. I don't know where her money goes. She makes $52,000 a year and has nothing to show for it. Trevor's struggling too, but at least he's trying to build something. I stood there holding a stack of plates, frozen. Trevor was trying to build something with money he'd borrowed from me and never repaid. My parents had nothing to show for their combined $140,000 income because they'd bought an RV they couldn't afford, remodeled a kitchen on credit, and borrowed $43,000 from Russell they'd never paid back. But I was the failure. That night, I sat on my bedroom floor with the spreadsheet open on my laptop, tears blurring the numbers. I had given them more than a full year of my life, yet they still saw me as the irresponsible one. The realization hit me harder than any late payment ever had. I started declining Sunday dinners and holiday gatherings, claiming I was swamped with grading. The truth was, I couldn't bear another conversation where my money problems were the punchline, while they enjoyed the RV and kitchen remodel they'd financed with Grandpa's money. I stopped going to family dinners after that, but I kept paying the loan. Every month. $625. Alone. By November 2025, I'd made 70 payments. I had 27 months left. $625 every month through 2027, or so I thought. Russell's health started failing in October. I visited 3 or 4 times a week. The assisted living facility smelled like disinfectant and overcooked vegetables, but Russell's room was bright. Photos of our family on his dresser, a journal on his side table. "You're here again," he said one afternoon, 3rd time this week. "I like your company, Grandpa. Your brother came once this month, stayed 20 minutes. Your mother called instead of visiting, but you show up." He reached into his drawer and pulled out that leather journal. "I've been writing things down, Sophia. Things I want you to know." I didn't understand. Not yet. Early June, I was visiting when his phone rang. He answered, and I heard my mother's voice, loud and cheerful even through the phone. "Hawaii for Christmas? That's expensive, Lorraine." Pause. "Yes, I think family time is important." Pause. "I have one condition. Sophia must be invited." Pause. "Good." He hung up and looked at me. "Your mother wants help funding a Christmas trip to Hawaii. Family healing," she said. "If they invite you, Sophia, I want you to promise me you'll go." "Grandpa, I can't afford Hawaii." "Promise me anyway. Trust me. Just come." His hand gripped mine tighter than usual. There was urgency in his eyes I didn't understand. "I promise." "Good girl." October 8th. I found out later that this was the day he recorded the video. His last good day. Clear-minded, strong voice, wearing his favorite cardigan. He made his attorney film it. 3 takes to get it right. I didn't know any of this was happening. November 5th. Russell asked his attorney to drive him to my bank. He could barely walk. It took him 10 minutes to get from the car to the manager's office. He paid off everything. The remaining loan balance, $17,000. My credit cards, $11,650. My car loan, $6,120. $35,000 total. He made them promise not to tell me until after he died. He wanted me to be free before I knew he'd done it. I was still making payments, not knowing the debt was already gone. November 18th. Russell updated his will for the final time. 2 physicians certified his mental competency. Witnesses signed. The will was filed with the probate court the next day. 1 week later, he slipped into unconsciousness. November 25th. Russell passed away at 3:47 a.m. I'd been there for 48 hours, hadn't left his bedside, held his hand as his breathing slowed and stopped. My family arrived 20 minutes after he died. The first thing my mother said, standing in that hospital room with Russell's body still warm, "Did he say anything about his estate? About his wishes?" "He said he loved us," I told her. Trevor looked annoyed. "But did he mention the house? The accounts?" I wanted to scream at them. But I didn't, because something Russell had said kept echoing in my mind. "Trust me. Just come to Hawaii." December 2nd. I came home from school to find a registered letter from my bank. I opened it at my kitchen table, hands shaking. Dear Ms. Brennan, per instructions from Russell D. Brennan, deceased November 25th, 2025, we are notifying you that the following accounts were paid in full on November 5th, 2025. The list: every debt, every balance, all zeros, total paid on my behalf, $35,000. I collapsed onto the floor and cried for an hour. He'd freed me, in secret. Why hadn't he told me? The next day, the family group chat exploded. Mom, I think we should do something special for Christmas. Grandpa would want us to celebrate his life somewhere beautiful. Hawaii. He even offered to help with costs before he passed. Trevor. Yes. Mom, I'm so in. I stared at my phone, still holding that bank letter. Russell had paid my debts, told Mom he'd help with costs. He was planning this before he died. I remembered my promise. December 5th. Dad posted in the group chat, booked, Grand Wailea, December 22nd to 26th. 2 suites, total $8,500. Need everyone's share by Friday, $2,125 each. My bank account, $1,038.52. Savings, $215. Rent just cleared. Next paycheck not until the 15th. I had 3 days to find $2,125. I'd just been freed from debt. Now I needed to borrow again. Rachel, my coworker, met me in the teacher's lounge. Sophia, your grandpa just paid off your debts. Why are you paying for a vacation with the family that caused those debts? I promised him I'd go. I don't know why, but I promised. She wrote me a check for $600. Pay me back whenever. I opened a new credit card. Got approved for $525 despite my ruined credit. The APR was criminal. I pulled $1,000 from my retirement account. Early withdrawal, penalties applied. Friday, 11:58 p.m., 2 minutes before deadline. I sent the payment. $2,125. Monday morning, December 8th, 8:32 a.m. Mom in the group chat. We had to finalize the reservation and you were late with payment, so we rebooked for 4 people. If you still want to come to Hawaii, you'll need to book your own accommodations. Sorry, honey, but deposits are non-refundable, and we couldn't wait. I was in my classroom, 30 minutes before students arrived. I read that text 5 times. I paid 2 minutes late. They erased me in 2 seconds. I could have stayed home, spent Christmas alone, saved the flight money, but Grandpa's face kept appearing in my mind. The way he'd gripped my hand, the urgency in his voice. He'd paid $35,000 to free me. The least I could do was trust him. I booked a refundable flight. $850 I didn't have. No hotel. I'd figure it out when I got there. The next 2 weeks, the family group chat was constant activity. Restaurant reservations, catamaran cruises, sunset tours. Nobody tagged me. Nobody asked if I was coming. December 18th. Trevor posted, booked a sunset catamaran for the 24th. $120 per person. Who's in? Mom. Yes. Sounds amazing. Dad. Count us in. I wasn't asked. December 22nd. I boarded the plane in Columbus. 12 hours to Maui with a stop in LAX. I sat in economy, middle seat. My family was 3 rows ahead in Economy Plus. They'd upgraded using my $2,000. Trevor walked past during boarding. Oh, hey, Soph. Didn't know you were actually coming. You find a hotel? Working on it. Yikes. Good luck with that on Christmas week. He walked away laughing. I landed in Maui with $63 in my checking account and no room. My family landed with my $2,000 and 2 suites. The resort shuttle from the airport was excruciating. They sat up front, discussing dinner plans at an $85 per person restaurant. I sat in back, Googling budget hotels Maui on my phone. Everything was $180 a night minimum. I had $63. Mom told the shuttle driver, cheerful, making conversation. We're here celebrating life. Lost my father-in-law recently. He would have loved this place. The driver. I'm sorry for your loss. Family time is important. Yes, Mom said, smiling. All of us together. She didn't glance back at me once. We pulled up to the Grand Wailea. It looked like something from a magazine. Waterfalls cascading into pools. Valet parking. A lobby that probably cost more than my annual rent. I followed my family inside, dragging my suitcase. They walked to the check-in counter. I hung back, planning to ask about their cheapest room, knowing I couldn't afford it anyway. The receptionist, her name tag said Jessica, smiled. Welcome to Grand Wailea. Checking in? Yes, Dad said. Brennan, 2 suites, 4 guests, checking in through the 26th. Jessica typed into her computer. Perfect. I have your reservation right here. Pause. Her expression changed slightly. Wait, I'm showing 5 names on the original reservation note? Mom's voice, sharp. We rebooked for 4. Sophia's not part of this reservation. I stood there, 3 feet back, holding my suitcase handle, tropical flowers everywhere, piano music in the background, feeling completely invisible. Ma'am, Jessica said, looking at me now. Do you have a separate reservation? Before I could answer, Trevor cut in. She's not with us. She's independent. Right, Soph? Then my mother, loud enough that other guests in the lobby turned to look. A pathetic failure like her doesn't deserve a room on this family vacation. She can sleep on the damn beach for all I care. Trevor laughed. My father looked at the floor. Couples with children stared. A family near the concierge desk went quiet. I felt my face burning, my fingernails digging into my palm. The suitcase suddenly felt impossibly heavy. I wanted to disappear, to walk out, to fly home and pretend this never happened. Then Jessica looked at her computer screen. Her expression changed completely. Ms. Sophia Brennan? She said, looking directly at me. Yes, I have you in the oceanfront suite, penthouse level. It was reserved in June under the Russell Brennan Legacy account, fully prepaid through December 29th. The world tilted. What? I managed. My mother's voice behind me. That's impossible. He didn't. Jessica handed me a key card and an envelope. Thick, cream-colored paper. My name and handwriting I'd know anywhere. Grandpa's handwriting. Your suite is ready, Ms. Brennan, Jessica said warmly. And there's a message here. Your grandfather arranged for our senior concierge to ensure everything was handled properly. A woman approached from the concierge desk. Older, professional, kind eyes. Ms. Brennan, I'm Nina Martinez, senior concierge. Your grandfather contacted us in June with very specific instructions. He wanted to make sure you were taken care of. She glanced at my family, her expression neutral but knowing. He also requested that I document any public incidents involving your family members. I've just filed an incident report of what occurred at check-in. It will be available for your attorney's review if needed. My family had gone completely silent. I opened the envelope with shaking hands. Inside was a note on hotel letterhead. Ms. Brennan, per Mr. Russell Brennan's June 2025 arrangements, your suite and all amenities are handled. Attorney Andrew Palmer will meet you at 7 p.m. in the Hibiscus Room regarding estate matters. There was a second note, handwritten by Russell. It was dated June 10th. To Grand Wailea Management, my granddaughter Sophia will arrive December 22nd with family members who may attempt to exclude her. Please ensure she receives this suite and privacy. She has endured more than anyone should. Give her kindness, Russell Brennan. I looked up at Trevor. What estate matters? The will hasn't been read yet. I didn't answer. I took my key and walked toward the elevators. Behind me, I heard my mother start to panic. The oceanfront suite was bigger than my apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Pacific. Sunset was starting, painting the sky orange and gold. I stood on the balcony in the hotel robe and cried. Not sad tears. Relief tears. He'd known. He'd known they would exclude me. He'd known they'd humiliate me. And he'd made sure I was taken care of anyway. I ordered soup from room service, my first real meal all day. I sat on the balcony as the sun disappeared into the ocean and read his note again and again. At 6:55, I changed into the one nice dress I'd brought. At 6:58, I walked to the hibiscus room. At 7 p.m., I met the man who'd been keeping my grandfather's secrets. Andrew Palmer was in his early 50s, gray at the temples, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He stood when I entered, shook my hand gently. Ms. Brennan, I'm Andrew Palmer, your grandfather's estate attorney for 15 years. Please, sit. The hibiscus room was small, private. Orchids on the table. Windows overlooking the gardens. A heavy folder sat in front of him, labeled in neat handwriting, Brennan Estate, Sophia Eyes Only. A box of tissues already on the table. Your grandfather asked me to meet with you privately before tomorrow's reading. He wanted you to know everything first. He wanted you prepared. He paused. I should clarify. Tomorrow's reading is a private reading of his testamentary wishes. The official probate hearing will be in February. But this is legally permissible, and the will is already filed with the court. Why all the secrecy? Because he knew your family would contest, and he wanted you to understand the full picture before they started spinning their version. He opened the folder. The first page was a spreadsheet. My name at the top. 6 years of data in neat columns. Dates. Dollar amounts. Payments made. Payments received. Column C, Sophia's payment, 72 rows, every single one, $625. Column D, family contribution, 72 rows, every single one, $0. I couldn't breathe. Russell began documenting in February 2019. Palmer said quietly, the day you co-signed the loan. Every month he tracked whether anyone else contributed. For 6 years, column D never changed. 0, 0, 0. He turned the page. Text messages, screenshots, printed and annotated in Russell's handwriting. Trevor's message from June 2020. I need $800 for server costs. I'll pay you back next month, I promise. Russell's note in the margin. Never repaid. Asked Trevor about it in August. He said Sophia didn't need it back. Asked Sophia in September. She's been covering his groceries too. My parents' text from December 2021. Can we borrow your visa for Christmas? We'll pay the bill in January. Russell's note. Paid $200. Never mentioned again. Page after page. 43 pages total. Every text where they'd asked for money. Every broken promise. Every time I'd shown Grandpa a message, needing to vent to someone. He'd kept every single one. He knew, I whispered. The whole time. Yes, and it made him furious. Look here. A credit report. Mine. From 2019, score 720. Another report from 2022. Score 590. The red circle around Trevor's eviction. Russell's handwriting, angrier here. This is theft of Sophia's future. Trevor's irresponsibility is destroying her next decade. Your grandfather pulled your credit report every year with your permission. You signed that form in 2020, remember? He told you it was for his financial records. I remember. It was for his records. Evidence. He watched your score drop 130 points because of Trevor. He documented every cause. Palmer pulled out another document, a bank receipt dated November 5th, 2025, Russell's shaky signature at the bottom. 20 days before he died, Sophia, Russell had me drive him to your bank. He could barely walk. It took us 10 minutes to get from the car to the manager's office, but he insisted on going in person. He slid the receipt toward me. Payment in full. Personal loan number 4382, $17,230. Payment in full. Auto loan number 8856, $6,120. Payment in full. Credit card number 2234, $11,650. Total $35,000. He paid off everything, made them promise not to notify you until after he passed. He said, and I quote, "I want her to be free before she knows I did it." I started crying. Palmer handed me the tissue box. He knew he was dying, I managed, and his last act was freeing me from debt they caused. "That's not quite his last act," Palmer said gently. "That was just the beginning." He pulled out the will. Official legal document. November 18th, 2025. 2 physician signatures certifying mental competency. Witness signatures. Filed with Franklin County Probate Court November 19th. Russell's estate is valued at $418,000. The will has very specific instructions. First, you are to be reimbursed $65,200 for documented financial abuse and emotional damages. My hands shook holding the paper. Second, Russell documented debts your family owed him. Your father borrowed $15,000 in 2023. Stated purpose, medical bills, actual purpose per bank records, down payment on a truck. Your mother borrowed $28,000 in 2022. Stated purpose, roof repair. Contractors confirm no roof work, kitchen remodel completed that month. They lied to him. Yes. Combined debt. $43,000. Russell forgives these debts in the will, not because they deserve it, but his words. So Sophia does not inherit the burden of chasing them for money they will never repay. Third, the remaining estate. $352,800 plus the house. All of it goes to you. Your parents and Trevor receive nothing. The room spun. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'll read this will in front of your family. Witnesses will be present. Russell specifically requested this. He wanted it public. But Palmer looked at me carefully. You can choose a private settlement instead. Your family would never know about the documentation. You'd still receive everything. Just quietly. I thought about the lobby. My mother's voice. A pathetic failure like her doesn't deserve a room on this family vacation. Read it, I said, quiet but certain. Read every word. Let them hear what Grandpa saw. Palmer nodded slowly. Tomorrow, Christmas Eve, 10 a.m. This room. Are you ready? I looked at the folder. 6 years of evidence. 6 years of being called a failure while I kept them afloat. Yes. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stood on my balcony watching the stars over the Pacific. $63 to my name yesterday. Tomorrow, everything would change. Not because of the money. Because the truth was about to be read aloud in front of the people who'd spent 6 years telling me I had no value. Christmas Eve morning, 9:50 a.m. I walked into the hibiscus room, wearing the same dress from last night. It was the only nice thing I owned. Palmer was there. A CPA named David Thornton, Russell's executor. Nina, the concierge, with her notary seal. My family arrived at 9:58. Beach casual. Sunscreen already applied. Mom was cheerful. Good morning. I hope this won't take long. We have a snorkeling trip at noon. Trevor flopped into a chair. Yeah, let's get this done. How are we splitting Dad's money? Palmer's voice was professional, calm. Please take your seats. This reading will take approximately 45 minutes. I ask that you hold all questions until designated breaks. Mom sat across from me. Dad took the chair at the end. Trevor sprawled next to him. None of them looked at me. We'll begin, Palmer said. He opened the will. I, Russell David Brennan, being of sound mind and body, do hereby declare this my last will and testament, executed November 18th, 2025. Two physicians certified my mental competency on this date. Their affidavits are attached. He looked up. To my family, I have lived 82 years. I have watched you carefully, especially these last 6. What follows is my final accounting. Trevor's smirk started to fade. Wept first, I addressed the loan for my heart surgery, February 2019. Palmer's voice was steady, mechanical, like reading a court document. Which, I realized, was exactly what this was. The loan required co-signature. My granddaughter Sophia, age 22, and a college senior with 4 years of excellent credit history, agreed to co-sign $35,000 at 12% APR. Monthly payments, $625. The family agreed to split these payments equally. He turned the page. The following is a record of actual contributions over 72 months. Mom's face started to drain of color. Sophia Brennan, 72 payments totaling $43,500. Gary Brennan, 0 payments. Lorraine Brennan, 0 payments. Trevor Brennan, 0 payments. The silence in the room was absolute. 72 months, not one contribution from anyone but Sophia. Trevor started to interrupt. We were going to... Palmer held up one hand. Mr. Brennan, please hold all questions. This is not a designated break. He continued reading, the borrowing history. Every text message, every broken promise. June 2020, Trevor's $800. December 2021, the credit cards. March 2022, the apartment eviction. Each date, each amount, each lie. Mom's hands were shaking. The total amount Sophia paid on behalf of family members, excluding the surgery loan, $15,200. Combined with the loan, $52,500 over 6 years. Palmer looked up. Sophia's annual teaching salary, $52,000. She gave you more than 1 full year of her life. Dad's jaw was clenched. Mom looked like she might be sick. Now I'll address the credit destruction. Palmer produced the credit reports. Past copies around the table. Sophia's score in February 2019, 720. Sophia's score, November 2025, 590. Primary negative factor. Eviction from property co-signed by Sophia Brennan. He read Russell's notation. My granddaughter cannot qualify for a home loan because her brother abandoned his lease. This is not financial difficulty. This is theft of her future. Mom's voice, shaking. We didn't realize it affected her credit that badly. Mrs. Brennan, Russell has text messages proving you were informed. Would you like me to read them now? She went quiet. He read them anyway. Mom's text from July 2024. Did you really need to buy the $40 cream for Grandpa? You're being wasteful with his money. Russell's note. Sophia bought the cream I needed with her own money because the generic caused skin breakdown. Lorraine knows this. I told her. She chose cruelty anyway. Trevor's text from March 2024 to the family group chat. Sophia's bad with money. She makes $52,000 and has nothing saved. Maybe if she budgeted better, she wouldn't always be broke LOL. Russell's note. Sophia has nothing saved because she's been paying Trevor's debts and our family's bills for 5 years. Trevor has never paid her back a single dollar. The audacity. Now we address the Hawaii incident. He read the texts. The rebooking for 4 people. The exclusion. Then he pulled out a document. Hotel Incident Report filed by Nina Martinez, December 22, 2025, 4:35 p.m. Quote, Lorraine Brennan told hotel receptionist, loud enough for lobby to hear. A pathetic failure like her doesn't deserve a room on this family vacation. She can sleep on the damn beach for all I care. Nina nodded confirmation from her seat. Russell's note, written 6 months before this trip. I knew they would exclude her. I arranged her suite in June 2025 because I knew my family would fail her one final time. I wanted her to see what real provision looks like. Mom was crying now, mascara running. Trevor's face was red. Dad stared at the table. Now I addressed debts owed to me. Palmer turned another page. Gary Brennan borrowed $15,000 in May 2023. Stated purpose: urgent medical bills. Actual purpose per bank records: down payment on a 2023 Ford F-150 truck. Dad's face went white. Lorraine Brennan borrowed $28,000 in August 2022. Stated purpose: emergency roof repair. Actual purpose per contractor records: complete kitchen remodel. Combined debt: $43,000. I forgive these debts, not because you deserve forgiveness, but because I will not burden Sophia with the task of chasing you for money you will never repay. The weight of it settled over the room like fog. On November 5th, 2025, 20 days before my death, I paid the following on Sophia's behalf. He listed them: the loan, the credit cards, the car. Total: $35,000. I instructed the bank not to notify her until after my death. I wanted her to be free before she knew I had done it. I was crying quietly now. Palmer's voice stayed steady. The estate is valued at $418,000. Distribution as follows. First, reimbursement to Sophia Marie Brennan in the amount of $65,200. This represents documented financial abuse, emotional damages, and compensation for destroyed credit score, reducing future earnings potential. Second, all remaining assets, $352,800, plus the family home, plus all personal effects, I leave entirely and exclusively to Sophia Marie Brennan. To Gary, Lorraine, and Trevor Brennan, you receive nothing. Your debt to me is forgiven, but you inherit nothing further. Trevor's chair hit the floor as he stood. This is bullshit. You can't. He wasn't in his right mind. We'll contest this. Palmer's voice went cold. Lethal. Mr. Brennan, I anticipated this response. Russell was evaluated by 2 licensed physicians on November 18, 2025. Both certified sound mind and legal competency. Their affidavits are attached. The will was witnessed, notarized, and filed with Franklin County Probate Court November 19, 2025. It is ironclad. You may contest if you wish. However, he leaned forward slightly. If you contest, all documentation, every text message, every bank record, every lie, the hotel incident report, the credit reports, becomes public record accessible by media. Your behavior will be documented in open court. Russell knew you would threaten to contest. He wanted you to know the cost. Trevor sank back into his chair. Dad's voice defeated. We won't contest. Mom. But, Lorraine, we won't contest. It's over. Palmer turned to the final page. Russell left a letter. I'll read it now. His voice softened slightly. To Gary, Lorraine, and Trevor. You taught Sophia she was worthless unless she was useful. You took $52,000 from her over 6 years and called her a failure for having nothing left. You destroyed her credit and mocked her poverty. You lied to her. You lied to me. You excluded her from a family trip after she paid her share. You called her a pathetic failure in public. I watched all of this. I documented all of this. And now I am correcting it. Sophia gets everything not because she is perfect, but because she stayed when staying was painful. She gave when you only took. She loved when you only used. She paid for my surgery alone. She visited me weekly. She was there when I died. You were there to ask about the will. To Sophia, you were always enough. They just couldn't see it. Now you're free. Build the life they tried to prevent. You've earned it. My mother's wail cut through the room. We loved her. We're her family. Palmer closed the folder. Love is demonstrated through actions, Mrs. Brennan. Your actions are documented in this file. He stood. The reading is complete. You're dismissed. They left the room in chaos. Trevor storming ahead, Mom sobbing, Dad silent, shoulders slumped. I sat there for a long time after they were gone. Palmer put a hand on my shoulder. You did well. Russell would be proud. The family implosion happened in the hotel lobby. I heard it from the elevators. Trevor's voice echoing off the marble floors. You manipulated a senile old man. You turned him against his own family. I turned back, calm, cold. He wasn't senile, Trevor. He was disappointed. There's a difference. Mom, desperate. You're tearing this family apart. I paid $52,000 to keep this family together. You tore it apart yourselves. I walked away. Behind me, I heard more shouting. Guests staring, staff watching, and my friend Rachel, who'd been vacationing in Maui by coincidence, sitting in the lobby cafe with her phone recording everything. By the time I reached my suite, I was shaking. I turned off my phone and slept for 12 hours straight. I woke up Christmas morning to chaos. My phone had 1,200 messages, 300 friend requests, 89 voicemails, Rachel's texts, call me now. Soph, you're viral. 2 million views. I scrolled through notifications, barely comprehending. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. My story was everywhere. BuzzFeed headline, teacher paid $52,000 of family's debts for 6 years while making the same in salary. They called her a failure. Then Grandpa's will was read. Reddit thread with 45,000 upvotes. Teacher pays family's debts for 6 years, gets called failure. Grandpa's will gives her everything. Receipts included. News alerts, CBS, CNN local stations. My principal calling, Sophia, are you the teacher from the will story? Rachel finally got through. You're viral, like 2 million views viral. Are you okay? I don't know. Your family tried to control the narrative. Trevor posted on Facebook claiming your grandpa was senile. The comments destroyed him. They found his truck purchase, your mom's kitchen remodel. The internet has all the receipts now, too. I spent Christmas Day reading comments from strangers. She paid for surgery while in college. This is justice. Teachers deserve better than this. I paid my family's bills for years. Nobody documented it. I wish I'd had a grandpa like hers. By December 26th, my family had locked all their social media accounts. But the damage was done. Screenshots live forever. That afternoon, Palmer called. One more thing Russell left for you. A video message, recorded October 8th. Can I bring it to your suite? 20 minutes later, I was sitting on my couch with a tablet and headphones. Russell's face filled the screen. October 8th, 2025. His favorite cardigan. Tired but clear-eyed. Hello, sweetheart. If you're watching this, it's over. You won. His voice. I'd thought I'd never hear it again. This is October 8th. I'm still me. Still clear. In a few weeks I probably won't be. So I'm saying this now. He leaned forward, like trying to get closer to me through the screen. You won, Sophia. Not because I gave you money. You won the moment you decided your worth wasn't dependent on their approval. I need to tell you something I should have said more often, and something I should have done sooner. I should have stopped them years ago. Every time your mother said you were wasting potential, I should have corrected her. Every time Trevor asked you for money, I should have said no for you. But I stayed quiet. I told myself I was gathering evidence, building a case. The truth? I was afraid of conflict. I chose documentation over protection, And you paid the price for my cowardice. I'm sorry, Sophia. You deserved a defender in real time, not a documentarian for the aftermath. He smiled then, that mischievous smile I knew so well. That said, sweetheart, they never saw this coming. And that part? I'm not sorry about it all. He explained it all. The June phone call from Mom, booking my suite the same day, arranging Nina as a witness, engineering the whole trip, knowing they'd exclude me. I wanted you to see the contrast, their cruelty and my care, side by side. Then he told me about November 5th, the bank visit, the $35,000. You saved my life with debt. I freed your life with payment. Poetic, don't you think? They can't take from you anymore, sweetheart. You have the power now. So here's my last question. What are you going to do with it? His face went serious. You don't owe them forgiveness. That's not a requirement for healing. You don't owe them a relationship just because they're family. Blood doesn't earn loyalty. Love does. Whatever you choose next, second chances or goodbye, I support you. You owe yourself peace. Find it however you need to. I love you, Sophia. I'm so proud of you. I always was. Build the life they tried to prevent. You've earned it. The screen went black. In the months that followed, I started seeing a therapist who specialized in family financial trauma. For the first time, I learned that setting boundaries wasn't selfish. It was necessary. I reconnected with old college friends who had drifted away during my years of exhaustion. Slowly, I began building the life Grandpa had always believed I deserved, one where my worth wasn't measured by how much I could give away. I sat there crying for an hour. If this story has hit you in ways you didn't expect, you're not alone. Thousands of you have shared your own stories in the comments. If you're still fighting to be seen by people who should see you, I hope this gives you hope. Things can change. Truth does come out. Sometimes you just need one person who keeps receipts. January 2nd. I flew home to Columbus, back to my small apartment. But everything felt different. The debt confirmation letters were waiting. Every balance. 0. January 15th. The wire transfer hit my account. $65,200. I paid Rachel back immediately. Added $400 as a thank you. She tried to refuse. I insisted. For the first time in my adult life, I had savings. Real savings. My family tried to reach out. Mom's emails mixing apologies with guilt trips. Trevor's texts cycling between anger and bargaining. Dad's single voicemail. Can we talk? I read every message. Responded to none. January 13th. I blocked their numbers. Not out of anger. Out of self-preservation. Russell had given me permission to choose peace. This was what peace looked like. Late February, the estate settled. $352,800, plus the house. I paid off my student loans. $28,000. Gone. I cried for an hour staring at the payment successful screen. I bought a house. Small, 3 bedrooms, yellow paint, big backyard. $185,000. I closed on February 28th. I started the Russell Brennan Scholarship for teachers who give more than they have. $50,000 endowment. The first recipient was Jennifer Cole, second-grade teacher in Cleveland. Caring for her father with Alzheimer's. Her story sounded like mine. I called her personally. Someone saw me once, I told her. Now I see you. She cried. Late February, I wrote final letters to my family. I don't hate you. Hate would mean you still have power over my emotions. You don't. I paid $52,500 and 6 years to learn my worth isn't measured by what I can give you. Grandpa gave me proof. Now I'm giving you truth. I forgive the debt you'll never repay, but I don't forgive the treatment. I choose peace. That means we're done. No holidays, No calls, no second chances until you've proven, with years of changed behavior, that you've learned something. Maybe that day comes. Maybe it doesn't. Either way, I'm building my life now. Be well. I mailed them. Never heard back. I didn't need to. February 28th, 2026. My new house. I hosted a small gathering. Rachel brought wine. Palmer brought Russell's favorite cookies, snickerdoodles. Jennifer brought her father, who smiled even though he didn't remember where he was. David, the executor, brought the final paperwork. We sat in my living room, my owned living room, and talked about Russell. Palmer told stories I'd never heard. Rachel made everyone laugh. Jennifer's father hummed along to music only he could hear. Russell's photo sat on the mantel. Navy veteran, electrician, grandfather, record keeper. The man who saw me when I was invisible. People ask if I regret those 6 years. The truth? Those years taught me what I'm capable of surviving. Grandpa's gift wasn't just money. It was permission to stop surviving and start living. I chose healing. Not for them. For me. And healing looked like this. A small house. A scholarship in his name. A chosen family around my table. Freedom from debt. Freedom from obligation. Freedom to build the life they tried to prevent. I was enough. I'd always been enough. Russell knew it. Now I did too. If you've stayed with me through this whole story, thank you. If it resonated, if you've lived some version of this yourself, leave a comment. Tell me your story. We're building something here. A community of people who understand that family isn't always who you're born to. Sometimes it's who sees you, who documents the truth when everyone else is rewriting it, who sets you free even from beyond the grave. Subscribe if you haven't already. There are more stories to tell, more truths to speak. And to everyone out there who's been called a failure by people who should have lifted you up, you're not the failure. You never were. Sometimes the people who can't see your worth are just standing in the wrong light.